Wow, he said to me, you're still operating on all cylinders.
Welcome to Zestful Aging, where I talk with fascinating, talented, and inspiring guests who reflect on the adventures and challenges of aging and who are living their lives with vibrance and purpose. I'm your host, Nicole Christina, psychotherapist, writer, and fellow Zestful Ager. I want to invite you to my brand new free webinar, Zestful Aging. Here's how you do it. Many of my clients tell me that they're stretched too thin with too many demands upon them. They're just worn out. In my brand new webinar, I teach simple and sensible habits that will significantly improve your life now and help you age with vibrance and resilience. But it's important to start now. Don't wait until your body's distress signals go from a whisper to a scream. If you've followed me at all, you know I'm not about restrictive diets or boot camps. I believe life can be challenging enough. Let's appreciate our bodies and minds for the miraculous systems they are and take the time to take care of ourselves. Self-care pays big dividends now and in the future. And being well ourselves is the only way we can help those we love. And if you sign up now, I will send you my super Zestful Aging checklist, which I designed so you have clear guidelines right at your fingertips. The webinar is free. You can sign up at NicoleChristina.com. And as always, I appreciate your feedback. Well, I have my Jack Russell Terrier Sparky right beside me and my coffee in my hand. So let's begin. Joan Moran is a former actress, theater, and film producer, screenwriter, and author turned yoga teacher who knows it is possible to age gracefully, find an authentic voice, pursue a passion or two, and discover a spiritual balance, all while living with joy and positive energy. In her memoir, 60 Sex and Tango, Confessions of a Beatnik Boomer, Joan shows how she found the courage to keep moving forward during her 60s, with change being a constant companion. She also blogs for the Huffington Post and 60andMe. Welcome, Joan.
Thank you so much, Nicole. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning.
Thank you. Could you talk about this notion of change as a constant companion?
Well, I guess I was very fortunate when I was growing up because my parents had an avocation, which was fixing up houses and then turning them over. This was quite innovative in its day in the 60s. And we moved every 2 years. And I got used to moving, although I stayed at the same school, which we were very fortunate for. But I got used to change and the excitement of moving. At first, I was resistant to it. And then I saw how much fun it could be and how creative my mother made it. So I kind of have a background in being curious about places. We traveled also, curious about places and curious about people. And I was, again, fortunate because I was a gregarious person and I wasn't internal, I was more external in my personality. And so I began to embrace change as a part of being curious and interested in life. And for some reason, I've never been afraid. I can remember deciding after 18 years in my apartment in LA, where I had lived in various places for 30 years, that it was time to go. And I was retiring, and I was 71. And before I knew it, I had packed my 50 boxes and was in my car driving to Austin, Texas, having the time of my life driving. And so I think that you turn a corner and it's a surprise. And you embrace the surprise, and then you find a way of working within the new situation. And that's exciting because it keeps you young, it keeps you present. You don't hang on the past, and you certainly don't become a collector and a hoarder of things, nostalgia. I like to stay present and embrace the day, and every day is different. So that's a change every day.
So your personality really meshes with this mindfulness idea of staying in the present and
Mhm.
not being sucked back in the past. And I know that you teach mindfulness, so this all meshes together quite well.
Yes, when I took up yoga, I was 52 when I started taking yoga. Although I had dabbled in it in the 60s and the 70s, late 60s, the hippie times when the Beatles went to the Maharishi in India and all of that. And I
Mm-hmm.
started to do some transcendental meditation and practice my own yoga. But seriously took it up at 52 when I also took up Argentine tango and began this parallel journey. And of course, to dance a tango, you must be in the present at all times. Otherwise, you're going to screw up. And I started this journey, and by 59, I said, "Oh, I'm going to chuck everything and learn how to be a yoga teacher and take my yoga teacher training," which I did. And I practiced yoga, and then several years later, I became a teacher and set out my path for teaching mindfulness and yoga for the next 12 years. And
Mm-hmm.
it was a glorious journey. I had the best time of my life in my 60s. And besides dancing tango and hot footing it off to Argentina every year,
Mm-hmm.
it was terrific.
And it doesn't sound like you have any problem traveling to Argentina by yourself.
No, not at all. And I continue to travel. Sometimes I travel alone, and I just came back from Central Europe where I traveled with my best friends. That it's a married couple, and we had a blast. And we dropped each other off at a certain point, and I went my way, and they went theirs. It's very exciting, and it's also very challenging. It keeps your mind active in terms of planning and plotting and staying,
Mm-hmm.
in an airport, it can be tremendously intimidating if you're in a European airport. And so I love the challenge of working it out. And
Mm-hmm.
I taught myself not to panic.
How? Can you talk for a moment about that? Because I think our listeners would love to know some tools about how not to panic. It seems that at this age, there may be some things to panic about.
Well, situational, right? Situational awareness, not losing track of where you are. Let's say I come out of an airport. I hate Heathrow, in London. So I come out and I'm immediately in a barrage of visual stimulation.
Mm-hmm.
I might need water, or I might need to find bus transportation to the hotel because I have to spend the night in order to get back the next morning to catch a plane home. And I just look at signs, read signs, stay present, ask people. I always ask people where, what, whatever. And I can remember the first time I thought I was going to lose. I thought I was going to go insane and panic. But this is crazy. I arrived at the airport in Buenos Aires one day earlier than my flight. I was at the airport, was traveling, I think American Airlines, and I go up and I said, "I don't understand why my ticket doesn't work." And she says, "Because you're here the wrong day."
Oh, goodness.
And I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. I said, "Is any seat on the plane?" "Not that I see," she said, because I didn't want to go back into town. I thought, well, I'll
Mm-hmm.
just go home. So I stood there and I stood there and I stood there, and the woman was looking and looking, and she goes, "I found a seat for you." And I realized that patience, perseverance, okay, I could have gone back to town, but I stood there resiliently waiting for the right answer. And I put out
Mm-hmm.
positive vibes, and I think that there is nothing so terrible that could possibly happen. And
Mm.
so I don't panic and I don't get fearful. Fears are the worst thing you can carry around. First of all, they're unfounded. The what's going to happen to me scenario that you project.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a very dangerous state to be in. Um, a lot of people are panicking right now in the world, imagining things are going to happen to them that are not going to happen to them because of unfounded fears. So when you travel and you get in that airport, or when you're in a situation where you can't hail a cab or you don't know how to get home, then you just patiently figure it out and be aware. Like I would come out of a place I danced tango in Buenos Aires, and I couldn't find a cab to get home. Not the greatest situation you want to be in that city. And I would go back inside and I would ask somebody, how do you do it? And they would say, oh, I'm riding home. You can ride with me. See how it works out.
What does it mean when you say, I give out positive vibes? What does that process look like?
I refuse to go to the negative. I refuse to become a victim in that moment. I stay positive on the point. The point is get me to where I'm supposed to get. And if you go down into the negative, oh, woe is me, I'm the victim here, or it's someone else's fault, you go down a very negative path. And a lot of times it's very difficult to get out. That's when you panic. That's when you cry and you stand there and you go, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. But you do know what you're going to do if you keep your wits about you. Nothing is worse than panicking in the negative.
So when you say keep your wits about you, would it be something like you're standing there and the person behind the counter is looking on the computer, and as you're standing there, you're saying to yourself, relax, keep your wits about you? Is that the kind of thing it looks like? Or do you have a mantra? You're breathing? Are you doing a yoga position? What? Little down dog on the online. Anything else?
I stand very still. I stand in my own presence. I try not to think of anything. It's sort of a standing meditation. You can go into mini meditations anytime you want. So I stand and watch, and I participate psychically with that person. Like, even if I have to change money, and I really hate changing money, foreign currency. I don't understand it. I can't do the math. But I stand there patiently waiting for the person to do their job and trust in them that it will get done. Instead of, what am I going to do? And, and you start this, and then it panics the person that who's doing the work. Just be quiet, be silent, be mindful, and stay centered in your own body. It's hard to do.
Are you doing abdominal breathing to keep yourself centered?
Yeah, I always breathe. Yeah, breathing is everything, because it does calm you down, and then your mind focuses on the breathing and not on the situation.
It's the term self-possessed comes to mind.
It's that too. And I believe in it because, look, I'm a single woman. I have to negotiate the world on a level of single, right? And I learned how to do this by years of practice, raising kids. I think being a producer actually helped me put structure and context into my life, because when you're a producer, you have a checklist, and you're not afraid. You just move forward. You don't move backward. You move forward. And so I think the skills that I developed and watched my mother have been incredible assets for me going forward. And I'm grateful for them every day.
I heard you talk about your mom producing a DVD for senior aerobics.
Yeah.
So you had some kind of modeling there for competence.
Listen, she was a builder. She built apartment buildings, condos, single family dwellings. She and my dad. I mean, this woman, and she made her own clothes. She was an expert seamstress. She taught senior aerobics for years. She's quite a woman. Wow. She died at 98. And,
wow.
She was a great role model.
How much of her life has influenced what you're doing in your life right now?
Um, I guess you could say a lot, only we didn't have the same. I mean, I was to practice. I was teaching yoga, and she was she was teaching aerobics. I guess it's kind of funny. Parallel. Um, I when I retired from that job, I moved to Austin, and I have a son and two grandchildren there. Of course, now I help manage my, in a way, help manage my grandchildren's lives. But when they call on me, but I took up writing. Austin's a great writing center, and although I was a blogger and a memoir writer, I didn't write fiction. And I thought that to be a really good writer, you have to learn how to write fiction. So that's what I'm working on now. And she always worked on a project, and I always worked on a project
Mm-hmm.
because that keeps you active and it keeps your brain going. You know,
Mm-hmm.
especially writing. I've noticed it increases my vocabulary.
Aha.
I'm still a
Yeah.
bad speller, but it's not as bad.
Yes. The other thing that I've heard you say that I think is so helpful for us and for our listeners is this concept of doing the easy things first. And so not laying out this whole, I'm going to do Soul Cycle every other day, then I'm only going to eat, organic kale, and then, sort of setting yourself up for like nobody is going to be able to sustain that.
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk a little bit about this idea of doing easy things and what those easy things might be?
Um, I learned in yoga, it's not something I made up, but I learned in yoga that we work from intention, not by goals. Intentions are immediate. Goals are way out there. Hardly can touch them, right? Or a goal like I want to finish my novel on Cuba by the end of August. Well, that's ridiculous. I have no idea if I'm going to or not going to. But today, I'm going to continue reading this book on writing and get more information so that when I go back to writing, I will have a lot more resources at my disposal, period.
Mm-hmm.
But today I'm going to get up. This is my routine. And I'm going to be at Barton Springs and swim my half a mile. And that's all that's all I know for that moment. That's what I feel like doing.
Mm-hmm.
I might feel like doing my yoga practice, but usually in summer I just get out there really early and go into this freezing water and swim a half a mile because it's so hot, it cools down my body for the day. So I just work with small things. They're easy things, and they're what I feel like doing. They're like I listen to my body and I say, "This is what I need today," and I
Mm-hmm.
don't get too far fetched. Or if I say, "Okay, today's my dancing night. I'm going to go dance two-step, or I'm going to go dance tango," and I just make a note of that will be my night activity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty easy, but I don't create huge scenarios of things I will never be able to accomplish or do in a particular period of time. So
Mm-hmm.
I use time a lot, and I have great time management.
Mm. And the time management would mean that every day you wake up and say, what's a reasonable plan? What's a pleasurable plan? What are the kinds of things that go into your time management?
Well, first of all, I wake up and I'm grateful
Mm.
that I got up, and then it's like, what is it? What do I feel like? Do I feel like just rolling out, getting in the car, and going for a swim, coming back and having my coffee? These are not big things; these are just little things. But I work
Mhm.
from intuition, and everything I do is joyful because it's what I choose to do. And
Mhm.
maybe I don't want to. Maybe I don't feel like cleaning my condo or my little teeny tiny condo, but maybe the next day I feel like swiffing the floor. You know, so
Mhm.
it just depends on. I don't like to force anything. I just like to be with myself and see what's up. You know.
Mm-hmm. And do you find you're able to accomplish some of the more tedious tasks? Like, for example, I don't know why, but emptying the dishwasher has just become this heinous task for me. It just seems like, wait a minute, this is a circle.
Yeah.
Didn't I just do this yesterday? And I'm just wondering, how do you ever kind of get in the mood, or does it ever become joyful to do things that are tedious? How does that work? Because we all have to do some things that are boring and repetitive.
Right, like laundry.
Exactly.
I decide if I'm in the mood. Well, of course, with dishwasher, you have to empty it. But I mean, like with laundry, I say, well, is this a good day? Maybe it's cooler in the morning in Austin. Maybe I wake up to a cooler morning, and that would be a great time to do laundry because I have to go to the laundry room.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of, then it makes it more pleasurable because I'm not doing this in the afternoon, especially when there's heat. And did you go through months of heat? You really have to be very particular about what time of day you do what. Because you could be at the grocery store which I hate, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's just killing you. The heat's killing you. So I would do that in the morning after I swim. I just drop by the store. So
that's a South American, also, right? The whole idea of you do your thing in the morning, then you rest and in the afternoon because of the heat.
Right. Most people stay inside. So I write during the hours, but then it gets hot 4, 5, 6 o'clock, and sometimes I just take a dip in my condo pool, just cool me down, do some breaststrokes, feel good, come back in, maybe think about dinner or get ready to go out. So, and I make sure, this is one thing I do, I make sure that I have an active social life. Mm-hmm. And I put that as an important part of my week. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, then you become isolated. Mm-hmm. And since I'm almost going to be 75 in 3 months, I don't want to ever be in that cycle where I'm sitting in the house wondering what I'm supposed to do. I just keep developing a social calendar.
Mm-hmm. So, talk about how the logistics of that, because I have many clients who are at this age where they're saying, okay, I'm not doing my full-time career anymore. I have some more freedom, but I don't know how to meet people. It's not as easy as when I was in college, for example.
I think that everybody, whether they recognize it or not, has a passion in life. And the most important thing in life is to pursue your passions. Otherwise, life will never be any fun. That's one of my mantras. Mm-hmm. So if, for example, I knew some people in Austin, but it was a pretty new town. I visited my son there several times, and I had some tango friends. But I joined the Austin Newcomers, which provides a terrific social calendar, from cultural events to games to social hours to expats, happy hours. And that is, if you can go out there, and everyone's totally friendly, and you make a lot of friends, and there's your month of social. So I go hiking with the group twice a month. Mm-hmm. So this is a very important part. Now the dancing, if you want to meet some people, go take some salsa classes, mm-hmm. I have a friend went to square dancing, and then tried to learn two-step and took lessons, and then you meet a lot of people. So you have conversations, you go out to eat. So some days I don't want to do that. Some days I want to stay home. I want to watch it. I want to binge on my Netflix. Everybody.
What are you binging on? I'd love to hear what shows you like, Joan.
Oh gosh, I am a detective person. I like British crime. I'm just just enamored of British crime stories. So I've gone through tons of that, and I like foreign detective stuff too. It takes place in Sweden, or it takes place in Finland, or just odd pieces. And I'm rather eclectic in the rest of it. Like I watched Jessica Jones, which is a Marvel comic
Oh,
woman.
I know about it. She was one of the main characters in Breaking Bad.
Yes, yes. So I enjoyed that particular series, and of course we're going to come up upon House of Cards pretty soon, and we're going to come up upon the last Orange is the New Black pretty
Oh,
soon.
oh.
So there, and I look and I see. I don't want to waste all of my waking hours watching television, but I am very, very particular about what I choose to watch, and if it's not good. I just turned off something that I watched last season, which was Marcella. It was British crime detective, and I started to watch the second season, and I went, "No, this isn't for me. I don't want to see that. That's not interesting to me. It's too dark. It was way too dark."
Do you know the one? It was a Netflix one, Sneaky Pete.
Oh, don't you mean Peaky Blinders?
No, is Sneaky Pete by the producers of Breaking Bad.
No, I thought I watched Better Call Saul, which is
That's another one. This one
yeah.
is so fascinating, and I, when I was watching it, I was just constantly in awe of the quality of the filmmaking. It was mind-blowingly well
Okay,
done,
gotta watch it.
but it is dark. It's very dark,
Well,
but I think you would enjoy it.
I was enamored of a piece called Peaky Blinders, and it was about gangs in Ireland in the 1920s,
Mm.
and that was fabulous. And there's also another one called Babylon Berlin,
Hmm.
and it takes place in Berlin right before Hitler comes to power,
Hmm.
and it's absolutely fabulous. Detective,
Hmm.
again, detective. So yeah, there are a lot of really. I'm going to watch. I'm going to look for Sneaky Pete, and it's fun, and it's fun to exchange, shows with people, and
Mm-hmm.
this time of life. This time of life is supposed to be fun and joyful, and I I think that we're as creative people, you can create a really cool life based on your passions and your interests, and um, people go to book clubs. That's extremely popular. Because I'm a
Mm-hmm.
writer, I can never get. It takes me forever to get through a book because I'm always writing, and it's not fair because I don't get to enjoy it. But you know, um, I just went to an agents and editors conference in Austin to learn more about the new arena that I am entering. So it's like going back to school. It's fabulous.
How do you come up with your ideas for your pieces, for example, your blogs and Huffington Post and even 60andMe? I'm also, I think, a blogger for 60andMe.
Uh huh.
And sometimes I wonder about, am I going to have another idea to write about? Is that something that you grapple with, or do you have another process?
That's a really good question, Nicole. I'm grappling with something right now. I have been blogging I guess I started when I was 64. I started to write my memoir at 64, and I took a blogging course, and I started to blog for lots of places, and I've been blogging ever since. And I have a book of blogs out called "I'm the Boss of Me:
Mm-hmm.
Stay Sexy, Smart, and Strong at Any Age." And I put a compilation of my favorite blogs into this book. And I have been blogging for 60andMe, and I have been looking at all the blogs that just as like 300 blogs. And I've been wondering if I have anything more to say.
Mm-hmm.
At, at and I'm in another age right now, which is kind of interesting. And the age is not just the number, the chronology, but it's what I want to even focus more on. In other words, um, really going full bore into this editing of my novel about Cuba, and not worrying about writing a blog anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, do I have anything more to say? Haven't I said it all? Isn't this boring? You know, my latest blog.
I'm boring myself here.
And my latest blog was about what topics of conversation people are drawn to as they age.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Death, dying, memorial services. I go to someone's house and they start telling me about people who are sick. I don't know them. And they go into this, it's either people who are dying, sick, or dead, or the weather, or, I know. So, I mean, I'm interested in travel. If somebody wants to tell me about their trip, I'm always interested in that. But I mean, I keep thinking, we've got to be talking about something else now. We have to be talking about, people don't want to get involved in the politics anymore because it's too fraught with conflict. And so I'm wondering, what do I have to say now? Where's it coming from? I'm way past 60. I'm in the 60s, and I'm not sure I have anything more to say.
Mm-hmm. And then the fear of, you don't want to fall into the cliches, which is, oh, here's how we reinvent ourselves, and there's certain very standard kinds of themes that are running through this post midlife realm, and I think they can get a little old.
I'm a person who lives light. Since moving, I don't carry a lot of stuff with me. I don't hang on to things. I keep my favorites with me. I might add a few new things. And I like living in a light space. And I don't bother with a lot of things that I bothered with when I was in my 60s. They've sort of dropped off. And so I'm in this kind of, I feel, no man's land or no woman's land of making really small decisions and keeping my life simple. And so I don't know if I have anything more to say to the larger world, to the larger world of women who are going through their 60s.
Well, I'm wondering if the blogs are feeling like the clutter almost that you talk about ridding yourself of as you get older, that, oh yeah, I used to have that hanging around and now I want to travel lighter, which means just focusing on these one or two things. And maybe there's not room for coming up with new blogs.
Well, I'll tell you, that is a very perceptive remark you just made. A good metaphor, because I don't blog for anyone else anymore. The Huffington Post changed their, they don't get guest blogs anymore. That ended when it was bought from Arianna Huffington. So there's not that opportunity. I don't blog on yoga anymore or spirituality, which I did for years. And 16Me was the only website that I blogged for because I found it fun and interesting, and putting some ideas there. And unless I get a very creative idea, like I thought it was creative, like you go into a party and the first thing you talk to your friend on is, oh, we just came back from memorial service for Fred. Oh, gosh, you should have been there. They said a full mass and it was just like and I'm like, really? Is that where that's our opening act? And maybe like, we could have like, how's your plans for your trip coming along? Maybe we could have done that one. And so, I don't mean to be, nasty or anything, but I don't want to talk about dying. I don't want to talk about death. We're getting there, but I don't have to dwell on it, and I don't dwell on the people who have left my life, my loved ones who have left my life. I carry them with me in my heart, but I don't talk about them. They're with me every day, but they're mine. They're special. And so and we're on this earth as a transition. We're all headed toward one place. We shouldn't be surprised when it happens. I don't like accidents, and I don't like early deaths with people. And I think that some people have, as my mother would say, rotten luck. She used to say, that's rotten luck. And it is rotten luck when you see somebody in their 70s passing away, who still have as many years to contribute to society. But we know that, but if you don't know the person in context that the other person's talking about, it's hard to have empathy, and I would rather have empathy on it, about something that I know about. But I don't know, maybe that's being too harsh, and maybe that's being 75. I don't know yet.
Well, how about we talk a little bit about what it's like to be a grandparent?
Oh, I've been a grandparent for many, many years. I have 5 grandchildren, and the oldest one is 13. And so I finally have a teen. And I have 3 of my boys living in another city, 3 of my grandchildren, and 2 living in Austin. And I have had the most, during my 60s, I became a grandmother, so that was all happening too. And I would go to Vegas every 4 weeks, and when I lived in LA, and I was always there, and I participated in a lot of things that my grandchildren are doing. And now what's interesting, here's the change. Now they're getting older. They go, oh, hi, Gran. You're visiting. Oh, hi. And you get a hug, and that's it. I'm going over to my friend's house.
They have their own lives.
Yeah, there you see the development of their own lives, and you're very happy that they're independent, smart, creative kids, and full of athletic ability. And so I'm extremely excited to see them grow, but I don't have a whole heck of a lot to do with it. I was caretaker, I was babysitter, I was hanging around when it meant something, but they get older. My girlfriend that I'm staying with right now, she has 2 grandchildren here, 2 boys that are, one's in high school. I think both of them are in high school. And I watched her be a grandmother to them as they were younger. And now they just, they live in the neighborhood, so it's lucky for her. But you see the difference. You see how it's different for her now too. So we've talked about that. That might be a blog.
Yeah, because I don't remember reading about that experience for people. Certainly they will often say how much they love being a grandparent, but I haven't heard this other part, which is, and then it changes.
Oh boy, does it ever. I mean, I just went to my oldest grandson's bar mitzvah in February, and watched him play guitar and have a band, and it was like, oh, he was my first, and there he is, and one more year he'll be in high school. So you want the best to launch them as independent young people, and I think that's super important. So I support them psychically, and not as much physically as I once did, but I call them on their phones, and try to get hold of them, and try to talk to them. So I that's important to keep them around for a while.
Yeah. Do you have any plans to go back to acting?
No, my favorite story is that I spent 25 years in the theater. I was an actress, but I was a teacher. I taught at University of Nevada, Las Vegas for years, and I was a high school teacher first, and then I opened up my own theater and ran a professional year-round theater for 5 years. And in Las Vegas, and then my marriage fell apart, and I saw a recession coming, and I said, I got to get out of here. So I went to San Diego with my 2 kids, and I applied my trade as an actress for 2 years. At the end of that 2 years, I was in a play at the Old Globe, and do you remember Marion Ross from Happy Days?
Yes.
So Marion was in the play, it was all a play of mostly women, and it was in the 80s. It was about 84, and I'm standing backstage, and I said, gosh, I'm tired of waiting for my cue. Feels like I need to live my life instead of waiting for my cue. And she looked at me and said, honey, do you need my permission? And I said, maybe I do. She said, go ahead and do what you want to do and just be happy. It's fine. And so that's when I started a film career, and I started writing and producing film. I went up to LA and just switched up. Again, my life is about switching up, isn't it? It's about change. And so I met the love of my life, and who has since departed this earth. And I had a wonderful time, and learned a craft. And I just never wanted to go back to the stage. It didn't interest me at all, and nor directing. Not directing either. I don't know. It just, yeah, I had a life of it since I was a kid. That's all I ever wanted to do. And I, did my cycle. And again, didn't hang on to it because, I didn't need to hang on to it. I was interested in other things.
Yeah, this idea of, this evolution. When you're done, and it's time to do the next thing. Yeah.
And that for some people is scary, but for me, it's just a jump into another universe.
Yeah, and what's very clear is that you have a certain level of trust in your abilities. So you know that you're going to land on your feet, even though you might be a little disoriented at first. You've done it so much that you're going to be able to figure it out.
Yeah, I think so. Or I fake it till I make it.
Okay.
But there are, I like the ebb and flow of life. I'm about energy. I'm all about energy. And I don't, I don't have a belief system in the sense of somebody that's watching over me in the universe. I believe in myself and my energy, that I feel the energy. I feel the spiritual energy. And I think that's what true spirituality means, is tapping into your own energy and resources. And you're the only one that takes care of your life. You have to make, and I've blogged about this many times, about making good choices. You have to make good choices for yourself. And a lot of, listen, not all of them have been great, by the way, but when they haven't been, I've just boogied on out of them and just recalibrated what I have to do in life to make myself happy and to bring joy to my family, which I try to do most days, be there for my boys. And I hope I'm there for my grandchildren when they need me. But this is something that's extremely important, and that's the energy and the ebb and flow of life and your spiritual love. So, that's what I've learned from yoga, and that's what I've learned from Buddhism, and from the a code of ethics and a code of behavior, kindness, generosity of spirit, that I think carries one through life.
I'm thinking about your dancing and the you're talking about energy, and I'm guessing that there's certain people that you just really click with energetically or whatever, and that must look very different than dancing with someone who's not as good of a match in that realm.
That's a really good point. I'm very perceptive, I might add. You don't always get the great connection with people, because either they don't dance at the level, or the other is they don't hear the music the way you hear it. So I've been very blessed to understand music, and I played piano for years, and I listen to music, and I understand music very well. I'm almost ahead of the music. And so when I find somebody that has that same energy about listening and knows the steps very well and creates on the dance floor, that's when, magic takes place.
And that's the word that just sprung to mind, how that must be magical.
It's totally magical. It's the high, And in tango, you don't always get it. A man has to be very skilled, super skilled.
More so than the woman?
The man, it's a very intensive lead-follow dance. The man leads, the woman follows, and it's all improvisational. You have about 8 basic steps, but they're all done improvisationally.
Oh, I did not know that.
Oh, yes, it's extraordinarily complicated. And so 2 people are dancing, but they're dancing to music, and so you must know the music. Because if you don't understand the music, you'll never understand the dance, and you won't be able to dance.
How did you become familiar with this music as born in the States?
My significant other was Hispanic, and he was in the CIA for a time, and he won't be mad at me for saying it, because he's passed, but he used to do R&R, his rest, R&R, your time off
Mm-hmm.
in Argentina. And he had seen tango dancing because it took place in, small little, not a bordello. It started in bordellos, but in little places, restaurants. And so one day at the Pantages Theater, one week or 1 month, it was playing a tango show called Tango por Dos, which is or Tango times two. And he said, "Do you want to see it?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." And after the show, I couldn't leave the theater. It just I thought I had been hit by lightning and I was paralyzed. And I said to David, "I'm going to dance with every one of those maestros and maestras. I'm going to learn from every one of those maestros and maestras on that stage." And I did.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, it was the '90s, early '90s, and I couldn't do anything then because I still had a boy in high school, and I waited until he graduated, and then I found we were in Pasadena, and we moved to LA, back to West LA, and I found a dance studio, and within the year I went to Buenos Aires and learned how it's done.
That's the intention, right? You set that intention, and boy, did it.
Yeah. Every Tuesday night, every Tuesday night. I never missed Tuesday night. And I started to go to what they call milongas, which is the gathering place of people to dance tango. And I sat and watched and watched and watched and watched the women and watched the men. And my intention was to be the very best follower I could ever possibly be. I never learned the men's role. A lot of women do now. And I only thought that I needed to be a follower. And so when I started to dance two-step, I danced the salsa, but I didn't like the music. And I didn't take ballroom because I didn't like that kind of look. It was too, staid for me. And when I started to dance, and I like country western music, and when I started, my girlfriend taught it to me. She's a tango dancer, but she danced this two-step and Zydeco and Cajun, and she taught me all the dances, and I would dance with her in the dance halls, and I learned from her. And then because I could follow really well, I became a good dancer in the community because I could follow. So it was a wonderful way to create energy in my life, outside of whatever else I was doing.
Mm-hmm. So is that something you and David did together?
No, I dragged him to lessons, and he said, "You know what?" He said, "It's for you." I used to make him come to the Argentine Association with me, and he just talked. He just spoke Spanish with all the Argentines. He just, he hung out with me. But no, he encouraged me. He told me to go to Buenos Aires. He told me that whatever I wanted to do, that I should be able to do in this. And he was just, that was his generosity of spirit. It was incredible.
Did you ever cross paths with Christiane Northrup? The physician, she does a lot of writing. She's an OBGYN, and she's written so many books. She's all about mind body, and she's gone to Buenos Aires too to dance the tango.
I never have run. Where's she from? What state?
She lives, I believe, in Maine now, but she's was located in Boston, and she talks about it. She is in her 70s now, and if you look her up,
I will.
Northrup, okay. I think you're going to find a kindred spirit there, because she just talks poetically about what this has brought to her life.
Yeah, in a way, you have to. It's a moving meditation, like yoga is a moving meditation, and the yoga and the tango went beautifully because I understood posture and I understood straight spines and I understood axes. Being balanced. Of course, as you age, you lose your balance. The most important thing to do is be so present with your balance, and dance really helps with that, no matter what dance it is. But I thought that this, as I move through my life, I am so grateful for that ability to find a kind of a metaphor for life in yoga and in tango, because it's a spiritual connection as well as a physical connection. Now, people think it's about, it's sexual. No, it's not sexual. It is a connection of mind, body, spirit, joined together by the music. And if you think it's not for hustle, it's not for hustling dates or anything like that, because you lose a lot of the essence of tango if that's your intention.
I see. Mm-hmm. Do you have any last thoughts, Joan, you'd like to share with our listeners about, you've talked a lot about change being your constant companion and being patient and persistent. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we close today?
Somebody said to me once, just recently, and he was an ex-boyfriend. And I don't know if he was saying it genuinely or sarcastically, but I liked the thought of it, which was, wow, he said to me, you're still operating on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, yeah, I am. And I thought that was a really good thing to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Operating on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to resist inactivity.
Mm-hmm.
and not being creative with your day. Every day you wake up and create your day.
Mm-hmm.
I did a motivational speech last month in LA at a really wonderful group of people, and they wanted me to speak on work-life balance, which is one of the things I used to speak on, or still do if people want me to, and mindfulness, both. And I thought, wow, this is a challenge, and this is going to be about 2 hours of speaking and putting it all together. And I thought, boy, this is a test for me. This is a challenge and a test. I'm up for it. I have the material, and I want the stamina that goes with it. And I thought, that's all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know I'm an overachiever. I got that. But I know people can't get, they kind of shake their heads when they see me coming. But okay, but I have to deal with that. That they don't have to deal with it. I have to deal with it. And so I think that each person, according to his own being, operate on all your cylinders with joy and resist at our age, resist slinking back into an inactive state of mind, body, spirit. Keep it up. Go take a introduction yoga class. Take an easy yoga class. Take a walk around the lake. I still ride my bike. Not everybody does that, but take a swim in the lake, or create the day. As long as we're not working, from 9 to 5, make a new recipe. Ask a friend over for dinner. I do that a lot. I asked somebody, I said, I need to cook for somebody. That's important to me, to make a dinner for somebody. So, it's ask a friend.
I have this idea that what you're saying is really stay alive.
Yeah, keep it going. We live, God willing, and good genes, a long time. And even if you get, let's say, cancer, which is common, even if you get cancer, and I've always prepared myself for this, the positive attitude that you embrace that illness with is healing. It's so healing that you will heal.
Absolutely.
So that's an enormous part of our work on earth, is to take care of our bodies and our minds and our spirit. That's our work. Why are we here? And make it the best you can make it, and always stay positive about your human condition, and be kind and help out a friend.
That's lovely advice. I so appreciate your wisdom and your enthusiasm and your adventurous spirit.
Well, thank you. I try. It's been great, Nicole. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for interviewing me. And I hope I see you again in the universe.
that sounds lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Joan.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you so much for joining us on Zestful Aging. If you like the podcast, please share with some of your friends. I love to hear from my listeners. Send me an email at nicolechristina.com. And please consider becoming a patron of the show. You will get access to exclusive bonuses, and you will be part of the Zestful Aging community. Keep us going strong. Go to patreon.com/zestfulaging. See you next time for another episode of Zestful Aging.